Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to some more Mania 7 Key World Cup 2024 action. We've got China versus Malaysia, a winner's bracket match, I believe. The number 2 versus the number 3 seed, going to be an exciting one. Malaysia, a two-person team as well, with Neo and Chiwi. This is going to be a fun match. I am Toph Daddy, joined in the commentary booth here by Mifa. How's it going?
Hello. It's been quite a while since we got last weekend's matches, and we got here today some winners bracket. Especially exciting. This probably might be the closest one we've seen so far in terms of matchup.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this match goes.
I believe this would be some kind of team that you would probably expect in most of the a podium spot, no less, especially for China and Malaysia been gaining some traction from last year's World Cup. So especially you would expect China being pretty much almost the same players from last year's World Cup. Also with Malaysia, not too far from last year's World Cup as well, but this time they only have 2 players.
Yeah, I mean, and those 2 players are just incredible players. Neo and Chiwi being able to bring this team to the number 3 seed and keep themselves in the winner's bracket is really impressive. But China, with that 4-person squad, with the ability to swap out, might just be enough to take them through this match. But I expect this to be really close.
Yeah, these have been some tiebreaker situations happening on in the last couple of rounds, so you would expect it to see it here in this matchup. But I guess we can kind of see on where the Protect and the bans are going to be for.
Yeah, Hybrid 3 getting protected out by Malaysia there. China gonna take their next Protect. Seeing the Hybrid get protected by Malaysia, I would imagine a Rice pick maybe comes out as a Protect, but I'm not fully certain. But no, an LN Protect comes in. Millie's vulnerability coming out. That I guess China just feels very comfortable with their coordination.
Interesting enough, we got some hybrid bans here, kind of China going off even from ban from China, but Malaysia at the same time maybe can ban something in the last page, and yep, there you go.
Yeah, last page gets banned out there, so we got I'm not gonna try to pronounce that. The Hybrid 1 and last page LN1 getting the ban hammer on each side, and with that Malaysia will get their first pick, and I mean if they protected Hybrid 3, I wouldn't be surprised to see them pick it first.
Yeah, I think so far even the bans and the protects are just on the LN and hybrid side, so Rice are just fully open.
Yeah, a little bit interesting to see the Rice fully open, but I think that's been kind of common for this tournament. I've seen so many more hybrid bans in the 7 key tournament than I usually would in, say, 4 key World Cup, because almost all the time in 4 key World Cup it's 1 Rice ban, 1 LN ban, or an SV ban if that ended up being a thing. But here it's been a lot of hybrids getting the boot, but Ghost is going to be the first pick, banning out an LN map and then picking another one. But this is the density map. This is going to be a little bit more straightforward for Malaysia to, play through than something like LN2 would have been.
Yeah, more akin to the LN dumps. Well, I guess because of the vocals and whatnot. This is just the straight up density, just quite a brawl in terms of whether or not they can take the density in terms of the overall structure of the chart. And I believe all these 4 players would have this in the bag. It's just a matter of consistency.
Yeah, for sure. The consistency is going to be an interesting thing to note. This is over 3 minutes, so on top of that density, it's going to be long. So keeping combo is going to be really important on this map, and making sure just to that you don't get too lost in a few different spots, because with how dense this map gets, I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah, more of a straightforward cut roster for China, with Van Wilder being the most absolute tank in terms of denser LN charts in general. So happy to see for the China side to have him in the, I guess, for most of the LN density picks in general.
Start off with a little bit of an opening. There's not too much in this start. There's a nice 30-40 second bit of downtime before it really starts picking up, especially before those choruses start hitting around. Interestingly enough, this is also kind of has that same idea of like O2 jammy type maps that we saw from last round's LN4, but this time it's our density.
Yeah, we've seen the first drop coming from Satori from China, which does have a little bit of edge, but at the same time the accuracy is just pretty much clean from what it is.
No major mistakes so far. We did see the one miss from Satori giving Malaysia a little bit of a lead, but it's still only about 3,000 points before we hit getting closer to that first chorus here where the density really starts to pick up. The accuracies on Malaysia, we see Van Wilder and Neo both holding on to similar accuracies, but that miss giving Chiwi a little bit of an accuracy advantage, and still probably the only reason we see that 4,000 point difference. We do see a miss from Neo. That's going to trade back the early one from Satori there, but it looks like Malaysia will still hold on to a very slight lead there now that Neo is back above the 400 combo, but the accuracy definitely suffered a little bit. The sweeps coming in for this solo, and it looks like it's too close to... It's way too close to call.
By the slim is a margin. The difference is just nothing.
No breaks in that sweepy solo section either. Neo approaching that 2,000 combo mark, really recovering very well in terms of combo, just the accuracy suffering a little bit. And that's actually going to be a miss on this transition section.
Oh, there is a drop. Yeah. There is that drop from Neo, what China has been looking for. Though it's still there's still like a quarter left though. You might have to watch out in the more of the same thing happens.
Density picks up a little bit in this section. There's a miss from Satori.
Oh no!
Traded back, but Chiwi trades it. And that was a huge miss from Chiwi. Drops about 0.1% of accuracy, where Satori's miss was a lot cleaner there. Both players already back above 400 combo, looking to keep their accuracy, but China holds on to a pretty strong lead as we hit the final few notes of this map, and we're going to have to see probably a miss or a big accuracy drop from either of the Chinese players in order for Malaysia to take this back.
Yeah, Van Wilder has been the last man standing in terms of having the full combo, unless there's nothing bad happens to it, but it looks like it has to be a full combo from Van Wilder. Very impressive though.
That is going to be an FC, and China's going to strike early with a break point on LN3 there, managing to get it off the brakes on the Malaysian side, and China's going to have a little bit of the pick of the litter. They could actually go, I think LN2 wouldn't be a bad pick from China here. Get that protect out of the way and really consolidate that break point they just got.
Interesting to note that Chiwi has the best score in the entire lobby, and that is just purely cut off half of the ratio by any of the players in the lobby.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. Chiwi has more 200s than everyone else in the lobby, but the ratio was enough to give them the best score in the lobby, even despite the combo break. That's crazy, and looks like I was right. China's going to go for their protect and try and consolidate that break point.
Yeah, there's no harm done for China picking protect this early on, which I guess you would have to think that China's tactics in terms of picking strategy would kind of running down thin. So there's only one LN pick left after this, and you have to go with the hybrid route or the rice route after this.
Yeah, it really does feel like it's stuck in that zone. I mean, these two teams are going to be very close, so a 5,000 point loss on Malaysia's side is maybe heartbreaking, but still leaves things open for them. I still think LN4 wouldn't be a bad way to go for Malaysia, but I do think it's probably time to test something else, especially if they're not able to get the breakpoint back on this.
Seems like Van Wilder has a little bit of a rocky start in terms of. Oh yeah, I guess Satori also has a rocky start as well. Accuracy dipped down to low 99, but I believe that no one else even have like a high 99s at the moment.
I mean, Chewy was holding on for a little while. Well, now that I say their name, they do find a miss and drop to the low 99s. Both Chinese players having higher accuracy than their Malaysian counterparts after that drop. And Chewy trying to build back up to that 400 combo to sort of stop the bleeding a little bit. But it does get a little denser as we get further in this map with more complex coordination type patterns. And Van Wilder and Satori are both going to miss.
And that's a complete drop there.
And that's immediately going to swing the lead over to Malaysia.
Just by a fair bit. Accuracy is still on China's side at the moment, actually. Satori having a better accuracy than Chewy. Van Wilder is having better accuracy than Yo, so not too much to gain from Malaysia. They do not have the accuracy solid enough, but Van Wilder takes another drop here.
That is true. They're already back above the 400 combo mark now, but that's a 6,000 point lead for Malaysia as we get into the final third. We get through that 1/3 section. The accuracy's kind of similar between the teams. It looks like China has a slight advantage in Neo to fight a drop, and that lead is shrinking very quickly.
That is very quickly. It's now approaching to basically equal, just barely though, and it's actually going to swing towards China?
Neo's back above 400 combos, so they have that 2,000 point lead, and it seems like it's slowing down a little bit, but it's so close.
Oh, that is immediately the swing. It swings so tiny there.
Can't afford any drops on Malaysia.
Couple more LNs.
Oh, and Malaysia's gonna be able to take the breakpoint right back. 1,500 points.
Yeah, just imagine that ratio alone helps Chewy a lot in this times.
And then Malaysia trying the exact same thing, going for their protect to try and get themselves equal in this match. It is one breakpoint to one breakpoint, and Malaysia definitely want to start getting a little bit more momentum after that break.
And now we're seeing Turks instead of Tori this time. Well, I guess that would absolutely make the most sense, because this doesn't really test an intensity kind of LNs would. This is just a hybrid. Everything can go wrong in a couple measures there.
Yeah, this is also very long. Very similar to Ghost that we saw earlier, but even longer and more consistency focused.
Yeah, it's just the longest pick of the... I mean, I guess, apart from the tiebreaker, of course, but almost 4 minutes in the kind of pick is kind of it's pretty much a rarity. And you expect to have that consistency in the bag for Malaysia, and you would expect this to be seen being as a protect for Malaysia.
Yeah, I mean, we did see earlier on, like both of the previous maps, we saw Chewy with some very good accuracy, and that kind of strong accuracy base is very good for consistency maps like this. But that said, you still need to worry about combo. Combo breaks aren't going to be as effective as they would be in a shorter map like we saw in LN2, but they still do mean something on consistency maps like this. If you're not able to consolidate consistent combos, you're not going to have a good time.
Starts off with the slower intro, not too lazy about it, but I guess when things start to pick up, it's all consistency battle. Holding out just fine enough. Actually, it might have been, well, I guess Neo might have been a little bit of a shaky in terms of accuracy on some of these LN patterning, but I guess we still have quite a bit to go. Not too much in the way. Actually, China has a little bit of an accuracy deficit in terms of some of these patterning, and only Chewy has about 99.6. Everyone is just around 99.3.
Yeah, that accuracy from Chiwi absolutely carrying them. That's going to be a miss from Neo, though. That's going to be our first miss in this match. And it's going to give the lead to China despite the accuracy deficit. Neo already back above 400 combo, but misses right after that. And this is what I was talking about, a little bit of a difficulty consolidating combo.
What a bit of a struggle to keep up the most of the combo going through for Neo in particular. But 2 players still on China still have the full combo, so that's a big boost in terms of the difference.
Yeah, that is a very nice lead to have. Neo, through the break, was able to get back above 400 combos, so they're stopping the bleeding a little bit. Van Wilder does trade one of those misses back as well. That lead shrunk pretty quickly down to about 2,000 points. Van Wilder getting back up to the combo mark, though, and it looks like China may be able to hold a very slight lead.
Yeah, just by a slim margin, just because of the accuracy battle between Turks and Chewy. And everything else by Neo. It needs a one more drop for be able for Malaysia to take it back.
Yeah, either one more drop or Malaysia needs to hold on to their accuracy going forward. A little bit of a break section here. No one having any issues. A good opportunity for that accuracy to increase for pretty much everyone there. But Chiwi does find a drop in the transition, and that's not going to be good as we get into a more rice-heavy section. And China looking very strong in that transition. Now, I think beating out Malaysia in terms of accuracy and combo right now as Chiwi gets back to the 400 combos, and the lead stays around 8,000.
It's staying around the 8,000 mark, and I guess it keeps gaining because of literally all the China Turks and Van Wilder are solidly manhandling some of these transitions in and out of it.
Yeah. Pretty much every single player having a good time in this section. No breaks since that transition that we saw get trip Chiwi up a little bit. Gets a little bit of transition into the ending section. More of those bursts with long notes that we saw Chiwi absolutely getting insane accuracy on earlier. But Van Wilder finds a break right at the end. But it looks like China's
time that.
It's going to need a couple more breaks, but Neo trades it back, and I think that might be the nail in the coffin for a 3rd breakpoint in a row.
Yeah, let's just establish the fact that none of these teams won their protects at all.
Yeah, it's been three for 3 breakpoints, and both protects have already been chosen. So, very interesting way to start this match.
It's just exactly. It starts with the FC as well, although just shy with the 250s. Not a slider rig though, so that's still not an MVP because Jimmy has to get back to you for some reason.
This is an insane match. I don't even know what to say. I mean, what does China pick here?
Change Ding actually coming from China, so I would expect Rice would come in after this.
One can only assume. We've seen both teams win an LN pick here. We've seen China take the hybrid and Rice one comes out, so we've got some speed coming up.
Literally almost the delay-ish dump as chart. I believe like some teams that are already played in semifinals, they have quite a lot of struggles on actually trying to sharp shoot this. And this probably is the same thing.
It's definitely in the realm of like sharpshooting is very difficult on maps like this because the way that this map's structured, like there are plenty of like straight bursts and streams that are just really fast, but a large portion of it is just pure delay where you can like manipulate it almost to play like a chord string chart in some parts, but you're not going to get good accuracy in that way. And I think a lot of players might have trouble reading through this as like changing rhythms and flams and as a speed chart, and will more just like try and just keep combo, and that's going to make it very difficult to get high accuracy.
Yeah, we'll see if this pays off for China, because if not, we're gonna have 4 breakpoints in total.
Please, we need to be saved from the infinite breakpoints glitch.
starts off okay. I guess in terms of accuracy, it's pretty normal to have some of the drops in some of the weird, I guess, snapping, some most of the delay or stuff-ish.
Yeah, starts off a little bit on the easier side. Everyone holding on to pretty good accuracy. Neo down at the 99.3s, but still holding on to the combo. Really, it's right about here is where it starts getting a little awkward, because you can see the kind of like staircasey feeling of it and the chord streamy feel, but
Neo and Turks trading.
Yeah, that's going to be 2 misses, 1 on each side. Chiwi and Qingjiding holding on to that combo, but Chiwi with a 99.8% accuracy helping Malaysia hold on to a lead right now.
That is solely based on the rainbow he has. It's just, you can see from the hits, it's all just 90% rainbows at most.
Oh, I think, Neo actually found a pretty big accuracy break in that break section. Down below the 99% now, and China actually takes a lead off of that despite Chiwi's absolutely disgusting accuracy.
Oh, actually, it's actually going back and forth now. It's just the slimmest of any mistakes could go anywhere here.
And Turks does find another
drop.
That's going to give Malaysia a good 5,000 to 6,000 point lead here. The accuracy drops. Neo holding just under that 99% threshold, but the accuracy off the back of Chiwi still in favor of Malaysia and 8,000 points now that everyone's at full combo bonus.
Can we just say that 99.7 is already enough to carry Malaysia on his back? And is literally, even with the accuracy deficit from Qingjiding, slowly but surely.
What?
But that is 4 breakpoints in a row.
This match shouldn't be real. This doesn't make any sense.
Two 200s on a delay-ish weird chart.
Yeah, look at the ratio too. What is that?
This is actually disgusting from Malaysia. Even with Neo actually only taking 1 miss drop. I mean, and with Turks with 2 drops, but that is still a very good score. But in itself, you almost have to comprehend that Chiwi does things like this.
I just don't have anything to say about that. What does anyone pick at this point?
We don't know. We just, I mean, Malaysia would have to get the other LS, maybe, or maybe the other hybrid.
You know what? Pick Rice. Pick Rice 6. I don't know. That one has some bursts in it. It's also jack heavy, but it's got bursts. Maybe Malaysia can do that. Pick what you don't want to pick, is what I'm saying.
Well, that is a personal best, apparently. The way of adventure by Chiwi there. So,
good time to get it. But seriously, I don't really understand what a comfortable pick is for either of these 2 teams here. I figure Malaysia could feel more comfortable sticking to the Rice. Maybe they could go with LN4, somewhere in between LN2 and LN3, but it's just such a weird position to be in to lose both the picks that you made and then win the 2 picks that your opponent made.
Yeah, I guess we've never reached an agreement where I guess these picks are relatively quote-unquote safe, but I guess we're now entering the front space. Hybrid 2.
Alright, this map is so weird, because it's not like super dense. The biggest difficulty with it, I think, are some of the more complex technical patterns, and then just the rhythmic changes throughout it.
Yeah, going from 100 to almost, I guess, 400 at the very end of it. I mean, luckily the OD is still, I mean, on the low side for most things, but you would have to make sure you get the timings down properly, because it keeps changing every, like, 3 or 4 measures or something.
It's something weird like that. But I am interested to see if these players are able to keep their accuracy. I mean, if Chiwi is able to get 992 on the delay type chart, I imagine that it'll feel pretty comfortable on something like this. But, I mean, China's won both of the Malaysian picks already, one of them being that Hybrid 3 Protect. So I wouldn't be surprised to see China put up a very good fight and try to take this, make this a 5th breakpoint in a row.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes, because I'm scared to mention if this would be the 5th breakpoint, but let's hope it's not. Okay, BPM starts to pick up a fair bit, but Satori finds the drop here.
Does find an early drop. That's after the 400 combo mark as well, so it's going to be a full reset. Going to be a nice little favor for Malaysia as they get to about 5,000 points before things even out. And accuracy still slightly in favor of Malaysia off of another insane start by Chiwi here.
Does not phase at all, even with the speed ups at some point. I guess maybe some drops here and there, but nothing too major. This was more of the part where I was scared about because the courts, yep, like that, turns actually take the second drop from China. Actually, Malaysia is in cruise control.
They certainly are. Turks gets to 400, and now it's about 12,000 points of lead, but Neo does trade that miss back as the sweeps start coming in. Accuracy drops a little bit, but not quite as much as would be needed for China to really get back into this. I think another miss has to happen on Malaysia's side.
Still about 6,000 pointish of a buff here from Malaysia, so just by the difference alone, the accuracy, it just makes it comes up a lot, but Neo actually taking quite a bit in terms of accuracy, so might start to shift in favor of China slowly but surely.
A little bit of accuracy drop from both Malaysians. Chibi below the 99.7, Neo at that low 99% range, but it's still holding on as a lead for Malaysia here despite the consistency on the Chinese side. But it's getting really close as a few more drops start to happen. But I think it's gonna be a Malaysian point, not a break point. I think it's fine.
A break at the very end, but I guess it slows it down and still to about 2,000 point lead from Malaysia. That is a bit of a jump scare, but that is finally a point of their own.
Yes, not a break point. We're only at 4 out of 5 now. But it is China's pick, and now they're at a position where they can't let another breakpoint go, because that would give Malaysia a pretty strong lead going into their own pick.
3-2, and China will have to respond to something here. Apparently, I mean, I guess the delay chart was a kind of an outlier in terms of everything else. So any other rice
We've only got one non-rice pick left in the pool. It's just LN4.
LN4 is probably just as weird as this hybrid pick that we've seen earlier.
Yeah, that is true. It is a little bit on the awkward side, very sweep heavy, and I think it's just a big. It's a lot of balancing that speed and coordination. Because you got a lot of really quick bursts, but you still have to hold down those lock notes through the burst, or you're going to have a lot of accuracy drops.
I think in my mind it's just going to be whether or not China will have to challenge Malaysia on 4-stream picks. I think in general there are 2 of them. Which one would be the most makes sense in practice?
Seems China's taking their sweet time to get this pick because they know that they need to pick a good one here. They need to win this map, and Rice 5 comes out, so we're going technical. Oh, this one's weird. This one's so awkward. This is another one that I'd be surprised to see some really good accuracy scores on, just because of how insane everything is in it.
I mean, let's be fair, a technical pick like this with no E8 is just asking for trouble. Especially if you're not that, if you're losing in terms of accuracy, or I guess in terms of 200s, this is probably asking for trouble.
Definitely is, and with a 2-minute runtime, the mistakes that you make can really have an effect. Like big accuracy drops and even just singular misses can cause major point swings.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is the best pick that they could make, but at the same time, they did fine on the, I guess, the Way of Adventure earlier. So I guess this is the same kind of thing, except this is just rigid, abrasive, and all those sorts of stuff.
Definitely is, as we get into map number 6 here. Our first real look at something super technical. There were some technical elements in Rice 1, so this could be considered kind of similar like you were saying, but definitely more on the accuracy and pure tech side than just making sure that rhythms are, paid attention to with a few strain, a few mini jacks strewn about. This one really just puts it all on you.
Yeah, let's see if the Stella denominator courses or whatever, which has these lots of weird stuff happening with the brackets and whatnot, and Turks is really handling this down, even with Chiwi as well, competing. Actually with the drop action with Chiwi, Neo falling down.
That's going to give a huge lead to China, maybe the biggest lead we've seen all match, but we are still only halfway through. So, like I said, one mistake can mean a couple thousand points of extra score difference. So 17,000 points might have looked really big on something like Hybrid 3, but here it's not as big of a deal. One or two drops could definitely give China, or give Malaysia a road back in.
Some accuracy deficit. Well, I guess all of these players will have some drops here and there. It's just how well are you able to take on abrasive pattern like this, and it clearly shows.
A double full combo going into the final quarter for China and an 18,000 point lead, looking very comfortable on this. Maybe the most comfortable lead we've seen so far for anyone as we get into the final few patterns. Looks like as long as China's able to get through this just fine, they should take the point. But Turks does find a drop, and that drops the score lead quite a bit.
Yeah, there's not enough time here.
And China does manage to win their own point. So we had 4 break points in a row, followed by 2 successful picks from these two teams. Malaysia going back. It's now simplified itself to a best of 5. And we've got 1 long note pick and 4 rice picks available.
And nope, we're not going to see hybrid one.
You cannot pick that.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have more hybrids, but we got LN. I don't know if they want to go with that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the best pick in this scenario, but you know, it's also like a little awkward to pick any rice in this situation because it's 1-to-1 on the rice pool for these two teams. And if I were in Malaysia's spot having 1 rice 1, I would almost feel like rice 5 was the best option for them.
I mean, China will have a clue because this pick was, I guess, not that one-sided, and Tagaribi or Rice 6 would be a good one. But yeah, we'll see the last of the LNs now from Malaysia.
Yeah, so just clearing out that side of the pool, so it'll be all rice after this. One of these teams will have a little bit of an advantage, but the LN, it's a little bit awkward in all fairness on this map because, I mean, having Malaysia win LN2 with that coordination requirement and China getting the big density win on LN3, I could definitely see this going both ways.
Yeah, the best way that I can describe about, well, I guess this kind of LN thing, the symbol itself is, I guess it's pretty straightforward enough. But it's so simple, but yet also is pretty deceptively hard to get to nail them down because of the, I guess, more of the reverse shield that has some different timings on here and there. More of the, I guess you would kind of call it tornado patterns at most. It's all mixed bag, really.
It's a lot to deal with in this map. There's also lots of hand bias patterns in this, which, especially for 7, can really mess you up. Early sweep catches Satori off guard a little bit before 400 combo, so it's not going to be
Neo
as big.
Neo has a 97 on the intro here. That's not really good for that.
Yeah, really no one holding on to super strong accuracy except Chiwi here. Even Van Wilder down at that low 99%, but Chiwi did find a break to trade with Satori. And it looks like that accuracy lead with both misses coming out from Satori and Chiwi is going to keep this just about even.
Neo's hitting or releasing very early here. I'm kind of concerned on how this plays out because the lead might actually swing, but now we're getting into more tornado-ish patterns.
Yeah, back and forth sweep with some kind of complex release requirements. Accuracy's dropping on the side of Malaysia. Low 98 for Neo with Satori just below 99 right there. That's going to give China a little bit of a lead, despite Chiwi holding on to the highest accuracy in the lobby. And no one finding any combo breaks in this really dense section.
Just all those inverse, nothing trip up except maybe some accuracy. But right now, it's now a tug of war between Malaysia and China, just in terms of keeping the accuracy afloat this time. Satori with the drop there.
Finds a drop on one of those kind of awkward mini jack patterns. That's going to give Malaysia a little bit more of an in this break. Not the best time to break for China, because not as much risk of a dropping combo, but they are still able to maintain a lead because of that accuracy difference. But Satori finds another break, and that might just swing it over to Malaysia.
Yeah, that's just gonna swing over to Malaysia, but again, accuracy, you have to be careful because Neo is trying to game, but at the same time, Satori takes another drop as well, might still have a 1 miss buffer there.
Yeah, a few extra misses. That gives Malaysia a little bit more comfort here as we see 2 full combos on this map from Neo and Van Wilder. Just a difference in accuracy there. Satori having a few of those misses, but Neo does drop that full combo, and that's going to shrink the lead just a little bit as they build back up to 400 combo. One full combo left.
Accuracy shrinking. Actually, it's going over to China's side here. Might have to be careful with the accuracy now. You know what? Needs to not hit early. There's another miss there. China is going to take back the lead just by the tiniest bit.
Just a very small lead. Van Wilder holding onto the full combo, but they're back up
There's
to the combo mark.
There's
no lead. It's too close. We've just got a few seconds left in this map, and it's so close.
Neo has to hold on here. It's just all on him on accuracy, not to drop any more 200s than that.
I'm so scared, Van Wilder, despite
oh my god,
some accuracy drops.
There's some accuracy drop, but I believe she will also have to carry it as well. There's no lead whatsoever here.
It's swinging back and forth going to the last few notes. I don't know
oh my
who's
god.
winning. China wins
oh my
by
god,
98
points! 98 points decided by that with Van Wilder only FC. But again, that is still
that FC
a heartbreaking situation.
Oh my goodness, what a score. And she with a 980 despite that miss.
That is just so heartbreaking to deal with, and China has the breakpoint advantage here.
They sure do. It is their own pick. They can consolidate this and bring it to match point here.
At this point, China really has... Oh my god.
Malaysia calling for a timeout after that brutal loss by 98 points, so we'll get a little bit of extra time to breathe before China makes their pick. I think I need that timeout too, so I'm kind of glad.
Well, we kind of didn't expect that it would actually get this close, but at the same time, I kind of understood why it's called that into that amount of difference with the 98 points. I saw that there's a lot of really high 300 count, not rainbows, high 300 counts, which is coming down to that accuracy alone.
Yeah, it's an interesting position, but that is all of the long note maps from this pool, so it's just Rice available, so that kind of high 300 count maybe not gonna matter quite as much for the rest of these maps.
Yeah, I think China has a clear pick after we've seen Red Nay from like last pick.
I really don't know what to expect. I mean, it's interesting because you have like 2 pairs of maps that are very similar to each other. So we've got Rice 6, the more varied map. So we're left with the 3 most straightforward maps in the pool after this, which is so interesting. But this map actually isn't that complex either. It's pretty much 2 main map types. It's some pretty quick technical jack type portions at 144 BPM, and then it's like fast, dense, like speed streams, and then it kind of just goes back and forth between those 2 styles. So it's not particularly complicated. It's just a little bit more complex than the other 3 remaining maps.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of pick that Turks will love to see this one, and we already seen that Redney Turks takes I guess most of the MVP because of sheer technicality that he has, and they already got it in the bag. It's just a matter of whether the other player, well, I believe in this case it's Chin Yuding, will be able to keep up.
It is going to be interesting to see what Malaysia feels most comfortable with coming out of this map, because there still is at least one more pick after this, even if China does win it. So Malaysia has to be thinking about what their last pick is going to be and which bullet they want to bite. But for now, we're going to get into Rice 6, Junk Kagaribi, and China hoping that the complexity favors them here, and hoping that Chiwi's accuracy that we've been seeing throughout pretty much everything is not going to be enough to hold Malaysia to the lead here.
I mean, hoping that Neo's offset will be sorted out after that, because most of them are hitting early, but should be synced enough after it, but hopefully there's not too much in the way.
Oh, China actually not having the strongest start, but that's going to be a traded miss between Ching and Neo. But Turks' accuracy starting off maybe on the wrong foot. And that miss also not putting Ching in the right spot. So Chiwi's accuracy definitely enough right now to give Malaysia a lead. And another miss from Ching is going to help keep Malaysia with a small lead in this intro.
Yeah, I guess this is the kind of point where Neo has to tank a lot of this one because the accuracy might not favor so much, even if you hit early. But now, actually, there's a drop as well, but not too much in the way of a lead.
Yeah, Neo and Ching holding on to roughly similar accuracies, both having a couple misses as well. The two FCs on the bottom there, just with Chiwi with about 0.5% of advantage there, but still only enough to keep a lead of about 2,000 points in this break.
Not quite sure where the lead comes from, except from maybe, I guess Chiwi still has the FC with a high accuracy. But still, you know, anything can happen in this instant.
No breaks in that staircase speed section. Still Chiwi holding on to that 99.75, giving Malaysia the lead right now. Ching and Neo still roughly equivalent in the accuracy. It really is just a battle between Turks and Chiwi right now.
No one breaks after the... Oh, actually, Neo is taking another drop here. I actually saw this thing, but it trades out.
Yeah, Ching does trade that out. Still just the two full combos on the bottom. Neo with another miss, gonna shrink that lead a little bit. Ching holding on, trying to build up to that 400 and take advantage of that miss. But the accuracy is currently too much to handle, but Neo finds that a break, and now Neo is shrinking a lot. Going
Turks actually carrying... Oh no! Neo missed it again!
What a trade!
Ching actually missed it again! Turks is carrying so hard for China, but it seems that's not enough because the accuracy footing for Chiwi is absolutely monstrous.
That's such a huge lead. Double full combo Turks and Chiwi, but Neo just gets the best out of Ching at that ending.
Three out of 200s out, all those happening.
I don't know what to say.
And that also the break point as well, so we're still on deadlock. Best of three now.
It is quite funny that every time one of these scores happens, just the immediate reaction in the match chat is just, what? And I mean, it's the right reaction. I'm just saying that too.
Well, I guess most of us either are very surprised or not that kind of surprise. But again, 6 breakpoints in this match is kind of uncalled for.
Yeah, 6 out of 8. We thought we were getting back on track with those 2 regular points.
We're going into Cortex.
I'm so scared for this. Now, one of these two teams will be on match point after this. And we still will get the maximum number of maps, at least in the regular pool picked. So we'll get to see which one of the 2 chord stream charts is ignored. Wild that chord stream is what's left out of everything.
The only saving grace about this chart, there's no funny business in this. There's no burst, there's no nothing. It's all just straight up brawl of chord jacks.
Yeah, it's dense and it's at 132 BPM. For 7 key jacks and the coordination required, that's really fast.
8.5 OD, which might not be seem that much of an issue, but again, if you're not that good at very sharpshooting, and you might as well have to save your combo until the very end.
Yeah, even despite that 8.5 OD, as long as the players aren't like too, uncomfortable with the jack type patterns in this, I could absolutely see some ridiculous accuracies coming out of this map.
My only hope for this is that it's just 100% straightforward, but you really do not want to miss at any point, even at the break section.
Yeah, no break so far as the density of these jacks does increase a little bit. Still not too difficult for these players, but everyone holding on to very strong accuracies. Neo and Shiwi beating out both of the Chinese players right now. So far it looks pretty good, but Neo does find a break. No, as soon as I say that, it looks like China might take a lead out of that. Holding on to good accuracy and the combo is really important right now, but we still have a lot of map left, and it's at a point where the accuracies are close enough that I think if Neo is able to consolidate that combo and recover a little bit, they should be able to take this lead back.
One thing you notice right away is that Neo is picking up the slack now, right? The accuracy is already that high enough to maybe compare it with like Jing and maybe Turks. With a 1 miss difference, it might be not so bad after all, but at the same time, you really don't want to miss again after that.
Certainly don't, but the lead is not super comfortable for China one way or another. Just about 1,000 points. They could hold on to this, but I think they're going to need to see a few more accuracy drops from Malaysia if they want to hold on to it.
Might start picking up quite a few strings of 300s from Jing here. Might not start to gain act that much. Actually 200 there, so I guess the lead is just swings to nothing almost. Except maybe Neo actually also dropped as well.
Yeah, Neo and Ching are having quite similar accuracies. They've kind of been equal for a lot of this match. We see a little bit of a swing. I think this is mostly just off of the fact, like that I said, the accuracy advantage for Malaysia is enough that if Neo holds on to combo, they should take this lead back. And Ching actually dropping a little bit of accuracy while Neo is recovering.
Neo's recovering and has stabilized the central hits there. There's no only 300s here, only rainbows, and that's what he has to focus on and not dropping anything.
Indeed, and we're coming up to the end of this chart.
Neo
finds a break right at the end. Still 2 full combos on China. That might just be enough to hold on to the lead, but it's still
god, it's still flickering again. Jing Jing is trying to turns and Neo. Jing Jing falls on. Only Chiwi is holding on.
Only full combo goes to Chiwi right at the end.
Oh my god!
And Malaysia's able to get their own break. A double S! Ah!
That's all he goes now. Chiwi takes the MVP on that chart, really pulling their back on Malaysia, and Malaysia has the tiebreaker guaranteed now.
It's either a Malaysia win or we're seeing the tiebreaker, but China has a very, very important decision to make here. They either go for the denser, slower chord jack or chord streams, or they go for the faster, slightly less dense chord stream.
Well, I guess faster chord stream, but longer, or either just the actual BMS dense chord stream, except maybe even annoying to some.
I mean, they've been avoiding them for a reason. We've seen that pretty clearly.
Yeah, I don't know what to look at now for China. I mean, they still have their own timeout. They haven't used it yet, so we'll see.
At this point, I think it's just whichever one China's more comfortable with, and Rice 3 is going to be the pick. It's going to be Tinnitus.
Yep. No Zik for the, I guess, the denser chord stream. So we're seeing more stamina coming up. This is more stamina than most. So a battle of attrition.
Yeah, definitely a longer map. It does have that long break in the middle of it, so I could see them potentially building up their stamina again and holding on maybe better than if it was denser. But it's still so stressful to think about this. I just don't know who this favors. I haven't known who any of these maps favored pretty much for the whole match.
Well, we've seen some, I guess some insights about where they do on more of the chord stream based chart in any other picks, but this is just straight up chord stream. So whether or not they have the stamina to do it is another issue.
Straightforward opening with these 104 BPM jack patterns, but just kind of builds up to that 400 combo before the speed starts.
Let's see who takes this now. I guess there's one break section at that, but you can kind of clearly tell whether who has the stamina in this chart left after the break section.
Yeah, we're seeing pretty equivalent scores here. Changji finds the first drop though, drops that accuracy down below Neo's now to 99.5. Turk's about a 10% behind Chiwi, very similar to what we've been seeing throughout this entire match, with Chiwi just having insane accuracy, with China being more consistent, and Neo kind of being behind, but Neo actually holding on to the accuracy better than Ching off of that miss.
Neo's kind of hitting a little bit earlier than this is kind of a little bit scary for most, but at the same time, you would kind of back it up with Chiwi's accuracy, with still just hovering around 94.
And
here's the break section.
Yeah, getting into the break section with just one mistake on the side of Ching Ding. Chiwi holding on to a 99.94% accuracy, maybe making up the entire lead right now, but Neo just behind Turks, just ahead of Ding, and going into the ending section, this will be a slight lead for Malaysia as long as they're able to hold on to their combos.
Yeah, hopefully stamina starts to regain their footing here, and well, I guess the last quarter of it is even harder in terms of patterning, so they have to really gun it down.
It does get denser here. It is more focused on those double streams in this ending, so we could see some difficulties happen, especially with a potential of stamina issues coming in through this ending, but no one finding any combo breaks right now as the lead's just about 10,000 points.
It's about 10,000-ish, but you have to be careful. Any mistakes could happen in this instant, and again, accuracy differences starts to show for the other three players. Well, I guess Chiwi as well. Not showing any signs of fatigue.
No one showing any signs of fatigue. No combo breaks in that section, and it looks like Malaysia just might hold on and take the final break point to win the match 4-6. A small upset against the number 2 seed, and Malaysia will move on to winners finals.
And there it is. They made the incorrect call, and Malaysia will take the podium here, at least top 3 at most. And again, I guess not a V1SS, but again, you can kind of clearly tell that's a V1SS score even without the 200 there.
When you see it. I had to say it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see it, but we'll just see what they have in store for Malaysia in the finals, because some things might not be as it seems. So we'll see. Well, although China will have to go in the lowest bracket here, and they have to fight against the other opponents in that bracket, and it's gonna be so hyped.
Yeah, it's gonna be a scary weekend next week in finals for anyone who has to face off against China. But Malaysia will move on in the winners bracket to winners finals, like you said, getting that podium spot, and they will be facing the winner between South Korea and Philippines, which will be happening tomorrow. And with that actually will end our Saturday block of matches. Not too many going on today, but we've got plenty for you on Sunday, the first of which going to be at 0 UTC Sunday, so as early as it can be. That's going to be Canada versus Brazil. That's going to be an exciting one. There's a lot of stuff to think about. There's a lot of good matches coming up. I'm just so excited.
Yeah, there's a lot of the line for those two matches: Canada versus Brazil and Japan versus Australia. They have been knocked down on the lower bracket here, so one life left for any of those 4 teams, literally.
Yeah, it literally is. But with that, I think I just have one more thing that I want to go over. Maybe you can help me. But I want to support these teams somehow. Is there a way I can do that?
Yeah, you do. And there's a thing that is called banners for the teams here. You can buy and support with banners coming from both stores, and you can actually have the link down in there. You can actually purchase the favorite team banners here, and you will get some incentive, especially if you got the winning team correctly, and you get to keep the banner until for the next World Cup, of course.
Absolutely. You can also buy any banner from the 24 teams that made it into the bracket stage, even if they've already been eliminated. And on top of that, you can buy multiple banners, so you can support as many teams as you want in this tournament. It's going to be exciting stuff, and I'm really excited for the next round. But with that, I think we will be signing off.
Yeah, signing off. See you later.
少し大きくなりすぎたかな。暗闇はいつも怖かったあの頃と